Okay, we're on the normal model again, but this is going to be chapter 10b, and I'll start again with this whole Z business, again straight from the textbook. I just can't quite think of what number it is. So last video I was given C and we had to work out the area or the probability. Now I'm giving you the probability and we're finding what C is. So it's the exact opposite of what we were doing in that last video. That's one of the worst bell curves I've ever drawn. Okay, with the Z always means mu is 0, standard deviation is 1. That represents 90% and we always measure from our left-hand negative infinity. So if I'm going to shade 90% of that thing, I'm going to come all the way up here and go that area is 0.9 or 90% of all the area under that bell curve. And I'm wanting to find what this number here is. Okay, so being the opposite of what we did yesterday, the function in the calculator is inverse norm. Now, unlike yesterday where we could set where we've got, the calculator will only measure the area from the left-hand boundary up. So the area comes first, so it's 0.9, and then we're going to put in the mean and the standard deviation, press the go button, and the calculator comes up with 1.28155. Okay, we need to make sure we understand what that means. That means that if we go to the right 1.28 standard deviations above the mean, then beneath that we'll have 90% of whatever we're measuring, population, lengths, you name it, 90% will be beneath 1.28 standard deviations. Okay, that's the first question. Bit abstract, but doable. Minus C, Z, C, there's a couple of these, 0.38. So very similar to the last one. That's a little better, isn't it? We'll find our middle. We've got a Z, that means mu is 0, standard deviation is 1. So what we're saying is symmetrically we've got a C here and a negative C here, so the distances are the same, and the area between them is 0.38. Now remember, our calculator can only measure area from all the way over here at negative infinity. So we have to think about this a little bit. Okay, so bearing in mind it's symmetrical, if the full thing's 0.38, then potentially that half there is 0.19. Okay, so if that's 0.19 and this is my halfway mark, that's 50% or 0.5. What's 0.5 minus 0.19? Then all of a sudden this bit in here is 0.31. So all of a sudden we can go inverse norm. The area from negative infinity up to this line here, which is negative C, is 0.31. Because it's Z, mu is 0, standard deviation is 1. When we write that in the calculator, this is finding negative C, so we can go, therefore, negative C equals, and the calculator gives us negative 0.49585, which makes sense. We're to the left of 0, so our answers are negative. If negative C is that, then C is, so that's negative 0.49585, and that's positive 0.49585. Just because it's symmetrical, that pops out fairly easily. Okay. We're going to look at question 18. Question 18. It is talking about the nails. That's the nail question. Okay. So it tells us that the average nail has a length of 45. It also tells us that the standard deviation of the size length, because they're not all perfect, is 0.5 millimetre. And we are told that the bottom 20% and the top long, so these are too long and these are too short, so they actually throw them out. And we want to find what is that length. What is the length that gets shipped into stores and what length gets chucked, either the top end or the bottom end. Okay, so sort of makes sense because our calculator measures from underneath. That we'll look at this one first. Clearly they'll be symmetrical about there. So let's think inverse norm. Our area is 20%, 0.2. Here it's not a Z, it's a real life model. So mu is 45, standard deviation is 0.5. So if we label that point as A and that point as B, then this calculator will give us, calculator input will give us A equals, whack the enter button, and 44.5792, and I think it's in millimetres. So anything shorter than that is in the bottom 20%, will be thrown out. Done. Let's find B. So clearly we know our 45 and our 0.5. Okay, it stands to reason if that's 20%, then everything that side is 80%. 80%. So here is 0.8. Whack it in the calculator. And we're going to get B is 45.4208. So anything longer than that is too long and will be thrown out. Okay, again, make sure you can do as many questions as possible. They look easy, but you need to do a couple to make sure you know what you're doing. Good luck.